A faffing around video, like all my other videos. So, I've had a thought, and I don't know where it's come from, and I don't know, maybe I should have done a bit of research and see if someone's done it before. I was prepping melons today, and I was kind of thinking, can we um, candy some melon skins? So, cook them in um a heavy sugar syrup repeatedly, bring it up to boil, let it cool down, bring it up to boil, let it cool down, like you do with a glass of cherries and candied uh, fruit peel, those type of things. Can we do the same with melon skin? So let's have a see. So I'm going to cook some just in a pan of water first because it is. We'll save a bit. We'll just cook those in there. That's fine. Ooh, I need a bit. No, so it's not got much taste to it, but let's see if it kind of tenderises. And it's kind of quite tough. There's the flesh and then there's the skin on the outside. And it's kind of tough. So let's see if we can cook it first and tenderise it. And then that'll tell us if we can actually cook it in the sugar and kind of like saturate it with sugar. If that can make sense. I really should have done some research if this is a done thing. But I was watching something, and someone was talking about using melon skin for something. That they'd done something with it. Maybe they'd fermented it, or done some, or pickled it, or done something with it, which has probably given me the idea to kind of try this. And I don't know, but it was something. It was one of those ideas I kind of thought while I was swimming, which most of my ideas come while I'm swimming. I don't know why. Or maybe just use that time to have a think about things. So, cook it in just some normal water. These are the little lemon bits. And if it tenderises the skin through boiling in water, we'll have a go at cooking it in sugar syrup, and it'd be kind of quite interesting. And then. Well, it's like, I like zero waste in things. If we can turn anything that we put in the compost or throw in the bin, really we should try and use it for something else before we kind of do that. So if we can turn it into like candied fruit, that might be kind of quite interesting. But anyway, so cook this. I'll pause, cook this, see if it goes tender, and if it doesn't go tender, I might not do it, but I probably will anyway. Because I'm just kind of curious, and I don't fail. Well, I don't like to fail at things, you know. Right, let's have a go. See if it's tender, or tenderer. Yes, it's tenderer. So, we're going to have a go at this. I've already decided what I'm going to do. So I need to just turn that off. See if that water's boiled, we'll use that water. Strain those bits out of it. And then we want, it's going to be in equal quantities of sugar and water. So I don't want to. I'm doing this off camera because that's not stable enough to put my my scales on, and I kind of want this to be exact. So, and the pan's hot, so I need a cloth for underneath the pan. Incredibly interesting video that I'm making here. So that's on there, that's there. Let's pour in 200 grams of water. Grams of sugar. And that's not going to be deep enough for that, so another 100 grams of water. Another 100 grams of sugar. Will that be deep enough? I think it will. I think it will. So, maybe a little bit more. No, yeah, okay, because we're gonna boil it up every day, so it's gonna evaporate. So, another 100 grams of sugar. So that's going to be 400 grams of sugar and 400 grams of liquid. And that's not 100 grams, is it? That's 100 grams. That's 100 grams. Right, okay, so back up to temperature. I've never actually done. Yeah, we did some chestnuts last year, which was a similar kind of process where you just boil it up in a sugar solution every day until they become crystallized. It worked quite well. And yeah, I used the chestnuts in a cake, and they were very nice. And then I used the syrup in the bottom of the cake. That was very nice. Oh, that reminds me, it's a video I need to make as well. Anyway, so that's melted enough. I'm not going to put any lemon juice in because I haven't got any. I'm not going to put any citric acid in either. Probably it would be a good idea to put some in if you're doing it with fruits, but I'm not making a syrup. I'll be fine. I'm talking to myself. So these in here, like so. The first one, we'll give it a proper boil. So we'll cook them for, we'll cook that for 5 minutes. And then every day it'll just be a case of bringing it up to the boil and simmering it for well, we're going to simmer it for 5 minutes just to kind of start the process off, because we don't want any kind of fermentation or bacterial growth. So bring it up to the boil, simmer for 5 minutes, let it go cold, repeat the process again tomorrow, and then that will give the melon skin time to suck in that sugar overnight. So we'll see if this works. But yeah, do you need to see this bit? No. I'm going to bring it up to the boil, simmer it, which will look a little bit less, a little bit more moving around than that. 5 minutes, and then we'll cool it down overnight. Lid on, cool down overnight, and then repeat the process again tomorrow. So we'll do a bit of the video of what it looks like tomorrow once it's cooled down, or maybe once it's finished at this stage. I'm waffling. I'm always waffling. But anyway, this is what I'm doing. I don't know if it's fun or interesting, but I find it fun and interesting. Right, actually I've probably given it more like 10 minutes than 5 minutes. I think that'll be okay. I think that'll be okay until tomorrow. We'll put the lid on, we'll let it go cold. And I was kind of thinking, I've got a lid somewhere. And I was kind of thinking, the lid will just keep the temperature in. And I was kind of thinking that melons aren't that dissimilar from things like pumpkins. I'm sure they're the same family. Although I really should research that before I start speaking things. Yeah, so when you cook, you can cook pumpkin skins, like butternuts, you can roast them whole, and they turn kind of quite chewy and kind of quite nice. So I can't see why this won't work with melon skins. Can't see why it won't. We'll just have to see what it tastes like. But then if you think of something like Angelica, which is something that you candy. It doesn't really taste much of anything really. It tastes more of sugar more than anything else. So we'll just kind of curious kind of see. So it's kind of candied fruit on a. I need to turn it off. Candied fruit on a budget, and I don't know. We'll have to kind of see if it's a good cheap substitute. And I was kind of thinking as well, what I should have done is I should have sliced it up kind of quite fine into ribbons. So I've got, I found it in the fridge today, I was cleaning, yeah, so you take, I don't know if you can see this, I don't want to open it, but this is lots of orange lemon zest, which I've cooked in syrup, and then kind of it's a nice garnish for things. So I should have done that same with, can you really see that? So it looks like marmalade. It's not. It's just orange lemon zest, which is cooked in a heavy syrup, and it's kind of quite a nice thing to put on desserts. So I should have done the same with that. I should have sliced it finely, and then cooked. It would have cooked quicker and saturated with sugar a lot quicker. But anyway, maybe that's for another time. Let's have a look. So, it's shrunk and it's got a bit shriveled. It's certainly cooked. The smell's not so good. Smells a little bit like compost. A little bit like compost. So we'll bring it up to the boil again, repeat the process, and see how it kind of goes. It's not a bad smell. No, it's just like a vegetable smell, but not like a nice vegetable smell. But not a horrible vegetable smell. It's not like it's going putrid or anything like that. So bring it up to the boil, cook for 5 minutes, and see what happens. See what happens. Be interesting. It will be interesting. Right. How long have we been doing this for? So did we start it last Thursday, and it is now Saturday. So 9 days? 9 days. So it's been boiled. No, 8 days because I haven't boiled it up today. So it's kind of gone translucent. Some bits have stuck out of the syrup and they haven't kind of worked. So, but that's all right. We'll pick a bit that has certainly been underneath and looks like it's cooked all the way through, and we'll give the syrup a taste, and then we'll cut it up, and then we'll kind of see what's kind of happened. But it's gone translucent, like a candied zest would do. Get out of the finger. So, and it's not. What does it smell like? Yeah, so it smells like a heavy syrup now, like a slightly fragrant heavy syrup. So, bit of a taste of the syrup. It's nice and thick. Yeah, so the syrup tastes good. The syrup tastes good. I'm going to flub my nose. It's that time of year when I just seem to have a runny nose. So, wash my hands. Let's cut into this and let's give it a try. So, that's the outer edge. This will be the inner edge. We'll give it a cut across. How easy does it cut? It's about as easy to cut through as Candied Zest. I don't want a bigger bit, I want a bigger bit. That works. That works. It's candied it. So it works. It's not as if there's a huge amount of flavour there. I'll tell you what, let's scrape off the excess. Let's get a proper taste of this. Get rid of the excess syrup and I'll eat all of this. And then we get like a proper kind of flavour on my tongue. You know that works, and it's nice. It's not an amazing flavour. It's not like a oh my god, that's the nicest thing I've ever kind of tasted. But if you wanted to, how I'm going to kind of put this. So if you were on a really limited budget, but you still wanted to make Christmas cakes and things, and you wanted to cut down on the cost and still make them kind of quite in the same way, then you could use that as a replacement. You could use melon skin as a replacement for candied fruit in a cake, and it would work if you were inclined to kind of do that. I don't know how much candied fruit costs, but if you were certainly using something like ginger, like candied ginger in a cake, it's quite expensive, because ginger is expensive, and the process of doing this on a scale is kind of quite expensive as well. So you could use that as an alternative to kind of bulk it out. I wonder actually if you could make a mock candied ginger. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? That's kind of quite interesting. That will be a video, will that? Can we take some ginger powder or ginger skin and make a ginger syrup and then cook those in a heavy ginger syrup and make it turn out like candied ginger? That's kind of quite interesting. But it kind of defeats the object. You might as well just kind of, if you're going to buy the ginger to make the ginger syrup, you might as well just use that ginger to make the candied ginger. But yeah, so yeah, if you wanted to make candied ginger, this is also how you'd make it. So I've kind of used a byproduct of something else to show how you would candied fruit skins or ginger or cherries or any of those types of things that you wanted to candy. So it works. And it's not an amazing flavour, but it's nice. And you wouldn't taste it and think, oh, that's melon. Or you wouldn't taste it and kind of go, oh, that's not very nice. It would, if as a bulking out item, it would certainly work. That's kind of quite interesting. Yeah, so I'm not saying I'm going to do it all the time, but yeah. So I think there'll be some practical applications for it, but for the cost of I don't know how much sugar I used. Maybe a kilo of sugar over the week, probably, and a kilo of sugar. How much is a kilo of sugar at the moment? You can probably pick up a bag of sugar in the UK for about 60p. I would have said you could pick up a cheap bag of sugar for about 60p. So for 60p, and you could cook more melon skins in that. So the melon skins are free because they're a byproduct, because you just automatically throw them away. So for 60p, you could make yourself, you could use 3 times as much melon skin in there. You could make a substantial amount of candied fruit skin. There you go. That's kind of quite interesting. I don't think I've got anything more to say, but that works. I don't know if I'm going to use that for anything. I might do. I'm certainly going to use that syrup. I'm going to use that syrup in the bottom of a syrup sponge. I'm going to use that syrup because that'll be nice with that. I'm not going to waste it. I'm not sure what I'll do with that. But anyway, I'm waffling because I'm just kind of thinking of things as they come to my head. But that's kind of quite interesting, and it works. So now, if I want to candy some fruit or some ginger or something, I have the reference point of actually how it kind of works. So maybe actually, if you wanted to do half ginger, half melon skin, you could bulk it out that way. So that would kind of work. The melon skin would take on the flavour of the ginger. What would I do? Well, I'll make it in a video, but I think the basic premise of what I'd do would be I would peel the ginger, I would take the ginger skin, and I would puree it up in the water that I was going to make the syrup out of. I would cook that to extract as much flavour out of that as possible. I would strain that liquid, and then that liquid I would then use to make the syrup. I would add sugar to that, and I would add the peeled ginger to that, as well as the melon skin, and that's how I would make the syrup if I wanted to bulk out ginger. But there we go. That's interesting and a success. So it's a good day.